So, a white woman on Twitter is alleging coming out of the closet as a Trump supporter. It's funny in that it's not fucking funny at all. How could this possibly happen, Dr. Bird? So here's the story. They allege to have a bachelor's in women's studies, and yet the very first thing they cite as to why they moved from left, which they never were, because they were obviously at best a neoliberal, to right, is that they didn't like what the Me Too campaign did. So basically, they fell for the witch hunt rhetoric, despite the overwhelming sexual violence that goes on in this country uncriminalized. Mind you, the vast majority of people who come forward with accusations of sexual violence have in fact experienced those violences. Their alleged second reason is that they don't like environmental protections. Like, what? So they probably don't believe in climate change from the sounds of it. Their third reason is they don't understand the difference between biological sex and gender, and that biological sex is not gender. And they allege they are an expert in this because they have a minor in biology. Their fourth reason is they fell for Ivanka Trump's husband's propaganda. Like, what? Their fifth reason probably makes the least sense of them all so far. As anyone who's ever seen me talk before knows, I'm a huge critic of neoliberal diversity, equity, inclusion rhetoric because it's hollow and doesn't make actual systemic changes. So this person's clearly just not understanding the reason why neoliberal diversity, equity, inclusion rhetoric doesn't do what it claims to do. And it's because it reinforces a logic of colonial capitalism. And then they clearly fell for some sort of conservative lie that cops lessen crime. So in that confusion, it seems like they've clearly been misled. Their sixth reason is that she's upset that war didn't happen because she thinks that the war would have saved lives, which really just reads like a dog whistle for the military-industrial complex. Because this reads like the only lives that actually matter are white United States citizens' lives, not the lives of disproportionately black and brown people that the military-industrial complex is targeting. The next one is a doozy. She's not wrong that global governments have failed the people in regards to COVID-19. She, however, seems to completely not understand that the vaccines never stopped transmission of COVID-19. And because this nation has a fascist eugenics logic rooted in colonial capitalism that prioritizes profit over all of our lives, is that the economy was protected, catalyzing a mass disabling event once we learned that COVID-19 causes full body damage, no matter what type of case you get, allegedly mild or more severe. And it sounds like she probably fell for a bit of anti-vax propaganda. But she's not wrong that the global governments have failed us. And just like with her argument for DEI, it seems like she sees that neoliberalism isn't good enough. She just doesn't understand that the reason why is because it's liberalism going increasingly conservative, prioritizing profit over all of our lives, and deregulating, corporatizing, and privatizing everything. The eighth reason for this alleged women's studies degree holder is that they are upset that historically and intentionally targeted communities are discussing the ways that they've been historically and intentionally targeted. So again, as I said in my tweets, it's quite clear that if this person is not entirely made up, they are just at absolute best a single, double, or triple issue activist, which is never good enough. They are not genuinely concerned, nor have they ever been concerned, with the liberation of all of us. Their ninth reason is that they haven't read any scientific research about the fact that BMI is racist and sexist and does not in fact dictate anyone's health. And apparently they are unwilling to read it, and instead are much more deeply committed to body hatred and a deep-seated sense of shame. And their final reason, which is probably ironically tied to his complete irresponsible decisions in regards to COVID, is Biden's cognitive decline. Because for anyone that doesn't know, COVID-19 causes dementia. It's a disease that's linked to cardiovascular and cognitive impairments. It causes brain damage, and he's in his 70s, as is the person she allegedly came out of the closet to support. After going over all of these pieces, it's so fucking clear that this person was never a leftist. As I said in my tweets, it's not new for token grifters to exploit their demographic characteristics for a paycheck. It's clear that that's all this woman is doing.